that you get, if there's one person get it, I mean, you're talking about setting yourself up for success. Now to get this, I'm only going to do a small part. This is one of those exercises that we have to do together. Because see, I don't know what happened in January. I don't know what you went through this summer. I really don't know the highs and the lows of the storm. And so for this to be effective today, for this to really work today, you got to know about yesterday. For this to really be the impact that it was in my life, you got to tell the truth about today. You know where you are right now. You know what's going on in your life right now. You know what you desire right now. You know what your hopes are right now. You know what your challenges are right now. You know where your weak points are right now. You know what they say about you. You know what you say about yourself. You. So you got to understand what happened yesterday to get this. And you have to come through today. And so we've been in this 4-part series. We've been dealing with the life of Jesus. And as we talked about, it's in 2 books of the Bible. It's in the book of Matthew, the book of Luke. It talks about that nativity scene. It talks about the beginning days. It talks about what he went through. It talks about his miracle birth. It talks about John's miracle birth. It talks about how he was developed. And the Holy Spirit, through the hands of these writers, thought it fitting to slow things down and let us see a glimpse of the beginning. Let us see a little bit of yesterday. Because if all you have is a Bible that started with John and Mark, well then you don't know anything about it. Because John talks about, he takes you back too far. He takes you all the way back to Genesis. And then when he comes back, now you're right there with John. And he left out a whole lot of stuff. But that's how the Holy Spirit dealt with him. And then if you go to Mark, it looks like instantly he started healing people, miracles. And so it's like he was born an adult. He was born at the age of 30. And he stayed on earth 3.5 years and left. But by God's grace and power, he allowed us to see a little bit of what took place through Luke, and a little bit more what took place through Matthew. And so all month we've been looking at chapter 2 of Luke, and we saw some things. We saw the story about the little girl, they call her Mary. She was only 13 years of age. She'd never been with anybody. She was not experiencing a little bit of our life, and certainly not when it comes to intimacy. And now here is a little bit of girl, 13 years of age. She finds something inside of her growing that no man put there, something that had never happened in history before, and there was nobody that she could talk to who could really understand what was going on. Now, Matthew tells us that Elizabeth had some sympathy and connection and empathy, but even hers was different from this lady's. Something that ain't happened before. So tell her how the baby was born, she was all by herself. The Bible didn't say Joseph was there. So 13-year-old girl, miracle baby never better. Here she is in this beautiful hotel, this beautiful, she got all the animals and the cows and the balloon and it's funky and it's stinking. Well, she wrapped her baby in swaddling clothes. Yeah, that means rags and straps and whatever she can find. Did anybody identify with that kind of yesterday? Did anybody identify star not so perfect? Does anybody ever have business? God has given me the pleasure to have 1, 2, 3 houses in it was. But I tell you what, it wasn't easy. One of the worst things happened to me, and you're going to let me praise when I say it. The first restaurant I ever opened, I went to the barber shop next door, didn't know how to. I said, the first restaurant I ever opened. Never opened a restaurant before. Worst thing ever happened to me in my life. Now, I know that you finish the story, you say, well, I had business, and nobody showed up, and it was an absolute mess. First restaurant I ever had in my life. Worst thing that could happen to me. Would you like to know what? So first thing that happened to me, I go to the barber shop, get a haircut, just kind of relax myself, head back to the restaurant. When I come out of the barber shop, I see police cars everywhere. Oh, man, the bird out. What is going on? So I see police cars everywhere. And I see all these cars. Then I walk in. And I got to move people out of the way. And I got to get in there. And I can't get in there. And then they're trying to find seats for people. But just open morning at 6 o'clock. It's only about 10 minutes after 6. Police everywhere. Nobody else can get in the parking lot. We didn't call the police. The police were riding down the road. There was a traffic jam. Worst thing ever happened to me in my life. It was called success. Too easy. So you know I had to know. It didn't work like that. I didn't know. But it was too easy. Now I don't know about you yesterday, but maybe you find it kind of hard. You know, as Langston said, when you find life kind of hard sometimes. You know, it's no crystal stack. You know, it got holes in it. Place to put no carpet on the floor. You know it's bad. But don't you give up. You keep moving forward. Get time to read that poem about the Greek bird. And so we're just talking about this story of this little boy and this little girl and some of the stuff that happened. And I told you about the worst thing that happened to me. It was called instant success. One of the worst things that ever happened to me in my life. But I want you to understand one of the greatest things. I want you to understand your yesterday means something. Your today is significant in your assignment and in your journey. Come on with me now. Follow me in this word today. So let's look at Luke chapter 2. And it says this in verse 40. And it says, and the child grew. That same child was born to a 13-year-old girl that everybody was talking about. And the child grew. The one who became the greatest preacher of all time. The one who became the greatest orator of all time. The one who established the greatest organization of all time. The one who started with 12 and now he has an infinite number walking around. That particular one who brought us back to our rightful place in God, he started as a little bit baby. He started with some struggles, some hardships, some pain. He can identify with what you're going through right now in your life. And so it says that the child grew and became. Well, we don't just talk about it. Listen, I tell you about the word became. See, you become who you are. You become who you are. He became. Now, one of the things that happens in the earth, I talk about success sometimes, and that success is innate. Success is within you. I don't care what business you start. I don't care what you decide to do. You have success. It's already done. And so over time, we learn how to fail. And so we talk about be, we talk about become. Well, how do we be and how do we become? We become when we be who we be. Over there in 1 John it says that it does not appear what we shall be. But when we read it transliterated, and you look at it when you get time, it says we be when he be. When he be the presence in our lives, and he is the driving force in our lives, and his word is the driving force in our mind, we can start like a little bit different. We can start in the stable. We can start and have today's stinky situation in life with renewal all around, and you will become. You will become everything God has called you to become. I want you to know that you're somebody great, you're somebody special in the earth, you have a significant purpose in the earth, and you will become that specific person in the earth as long as you be. And as long as you allow him to be who he be in your life. And so, anyway, I'm going to read the verse, and it says, and the child grew and became strong and was filled with wisdom. I thank God for wisdom. And the favor of God was upon him. So I'm going to talk about three things today. It's just the way the text broke out. So we'll talk about that. I want to talk a little bit about wisdom. And I just got a little bit, not much. I need to call some people up here and help me out on this. But just a little bit. Just a little bit. But I got a whole lot about my life and what happened this year. And you have a whole lot about your life and what happened this year. So we'll talk a little bit about wisdom. And first thing I want you to understand about wisdom is that first thing God will do, he will help us understand that this won't work. One of the things that happened in the Old Testament, God brought the law. And God church talking what they always talk. They have gray hair. They don't understand. It's a new day. It's a new culture. We're the millennial generation. It's a generation Y, not generation X, and the baby boomers and the silent generation. I don't know what's going on. It's a whole new generation now. But you know, the more things change, the more they what? Boy, the more they stay the same. And so the first thing that will happen is God will allow us to see that it won't work. So the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. But how do you reach that place of wisdom? Well, you understand that the true path for success seems like foolishness to society, and then that God's strength is greater than the strongest strength in the world. How do you reach that particular place? You get you some time, I'm sure you do. Read Ecclesiastes. When you read Ecclesiastes, it says these boastful things about mankind. And I laugh sometimes when I sit with individuals and they like to run Ecclesiastes and they bring me something that it said in Ecclesiastes. See, the Bible said. I said, well, what you got to understand about Ecclesiastes is it's a book that is really sarcastic. It is a book of the Bible where King Solomon was the wisest man of all time. And so whoever you think is a genius, he has to be. And so this wise man has reached a point in life, and God put a pen in his hand, well, he said they call me the wisest of all time. And I'm still foolish. They call me the wisest of all time. You can put 10 men together, and they can't outthink me. They can't create a solution better than me. But on my best day, I can't handle God on this worst day. Some of my greatest philosophies, some of my greatest bits and pieces of wisdom, it doesn't make sense. And so God will allow you to go through 2014. He'll allow you to go through a segment of life to help you understand this behavior, this way of thinking will not work. There are 3 C's of life. You have conditions. And those are things that you cannot change, Tommy. You were born to those parents, you cannot change that. You are a young man, you cannot, no matter how you try, you can't change that. No matter who you serve or whatever, you just some things you can't change, brother. Those are called conditions in life. And oftentimes, we allow the conditions in life to tell us that we're going to fail, that we can't succeed. Well, the truth is, we were born to succeed. That God has placed this in our being. And so there are conditions, and then there are cognitions. And that's how you think and why you think the way that you think. And then there are choices. And so sometimes we view life as conditions and choices, and then we add consequences to it. But I think one of the most important seeds, that's the wisdom point, is when your cognitions begin to change. And your cognitions are those thoughts that lead you to make those repetitive choices. Choices that are self-destructive. How can you make self-destructive needs? How can we make self-destructive choices? And when you were burned by fire, my little baby's scared of fire because she's been burned before. But why is it, as we become older, the skin doesn't get any thicker and harder, and now fire doesn't burn anymore? Why do we stick our hands in the fire that the little baby won't even stick their hands in? And why do we keep doing it? You ever see individuals, not certainly not anybody here, but you ever see individuals that they don't have a job and they don't have any money, you understand that? And then they get a job and they don't have any money, you might understand that too. And then they win the lottery and then a couple of months later they don't have any money. And then income tax comes in, and then they get the check and they don't have any money. Because they have a way of thinking that has to change. See, poverty is a state of the mind. I had plenty of money, I had zero money. It's the mindset. It's the thinking process. And so there are some things going on in your life that are wisdom. And so God will allow 2014 to happen. God will allow some of the things that happened in 2014. And all he's trying to do is say, listen, we're going to deal with the choice later. But if you don't let me deal with that cognition, why you think the way you think, if we don't deal with that So God talks about how in Christ is a new creature, all things pass away, all things become new. But over there in Romans chapter 12, 1 and 2, it says, now listen, I love for me. You are living that powerful man. You got to change that way of thinking. It says, be ye transformed, metamorphosis, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And how do you do that over there? Joshua talks about 1 and 8. It says, better take care of your day and night from this particular word of God. And allow the word of God to formulate a new baseline in your mind. See, that's the power of wisdom. And God will allow you and I to go through. You stuck your hand in that fire, and you know, everything's sweet, and let it break. And God said, I'm going to let that happen to you because I want you